Dune 2 has one major flaw no one is talking about. I recently watched Dune 2 and it was really good. No surprise, right? It's a great motion picture. You've heard this, and it's true. Dune 2 has noteworthy story element progression in the romance, the leadership, the side characters, and the visuals made for top-notch immersion, and the pacing was more aligned with mainstream attention span. Did a lot of things well. The thing this movie did best was seizing the story components and really squeezing those emotional peaks. I also really like the timeless themes of power influencing faith, utilizing an underclass for ulterior motives, which is largely found in secular works in which faith and religion are a mechanism of power. Think Neil Gaiman's American Gods in a very literal sense in that book, or consider his Dark Materials by Philip Pullman, or even A Song of Ice and Fire, aka Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. Overall, Dune 2 is a really good science fiction space opera. However, there is one narrative item that is sorely out of place. This isn't what you'll find in some cultural poison article about white saviorhood and cultural appropriation. We've had enough of that in the first movie, and I think we're moving past that in this country. Hopefully. No, this sticks more within the narrative frame. Couple of minor points first. Nothing new. The acting was really good, but Zendaya was a bit mid. She's okay, she's passable, but she was a couple of steps behind the rest in terms of precision acting, especially when there was a focal point on her, specifically at high points in the movie. Also, I was not big on the casting of Christopher Walken as Emperor Shaddam. Walken is a singular presence. He really has one mode, and that's Christopher Walken. We all know the cadence, right? Bad Walken. But we all know. This choice might have worked if the Emperor had more screen time and could exude an air of, say, eccentricity. Walken is also old. This could work also if we show the Emperor's age adding to his diminished grasp on power. But there wasn't enough in this edit to bring anything out of the character except a focal point for this conflict. He's a very particular device. The character was written pretty flat, pretty one-dimensional, so I don't blame the guy. It was poor writing and poor casting. He wasn't given much. Small stuff aside, the biggest issue in Dune 2's narrative was in the final act. Now here we had Paul Atreides consolidate power by claiming he's the Muad'Dib. Then a challenge is issued to the Emperor, who receives it and quickly travels to the planet with an army? Okay. At this point, though, we know the South is filled with people, or at least the Emperor and the rest of his consortium know this. They know it's probably a trap. They have to at least think that it might be. I mean, the amount of damage Paul has been doing so far is indicative of a much larger force, not a smaller force. Furthermore, the Emperor brings one ship that seemingly has no offensive capability. None that's shown anyway. Now, it did take a nuclear explosion to destroy the ship's defense, but wouldn't the Harkonnen have reported that they didn't recover the Atreides nuclear arsenal? The Emperor knows that all the great houses have a nuclear arsenal. Now, the movie sure didn't show the Harkonnens balking at the notion of reporting these missing nukes. Pride and shame could have been a good motivation to show this, but they chose not to invest in this narrative item. As it stands, this seems to be a pretty bad plot contrivance, which is when events unfold to serve the plot without much logic. The plot needed the Emperor to be at Dune, the planet, in 5 minutes of screen time, so he suddenly became stupid. Was the Emperor stupid? No. He runs this vast civilization. He plotted to destroy the Atreides family. Largely succeeded. Was the Emperor blinded by rage? Didn't seem like it, but maybe. Did all of the other characters around the Emperor suddenly become stupid and emotional too? There's no indication of that. No. The Emperor is smart. His council is smart. The Emperor would have escalated the issue with the military might of the other houses. All the houses have an interest in seeing this issue resolved. They all rely on spice. It's a plot contrivance. Now, I don't see this plot contrivance breaking what is otherwise a really good motion picture. Everything else landed quite well. Narrative progressions, character motivations, poignant themes, and all the rest carry this movie, and it really does maintain its greatness.